Hello, Natty Casters. Today's guest is Nat Comisar. Nat's family has an amazing legacy in the Greater Cincinnati area as restaurateurs, the most famous of which was the Maisonette. It was a Mobil Five-Star restaurant for 41 consecutive years, the longest streak in North America. The success of the family didn't come easy, however, and it required considerable hardship, hard work, and generational effort. In addition to being quite the raconteur, Nat clearly has a passion for history and shares some incredible stories about not only his journey, but those of his ancestors who made their way to America to start a new life. Today, Nat is in the real estate business, but clearly should be speaking full-time as he is an engaging storyteller who we will have to have back for an After Dark segment of the Natty Cast, where he can share some stories of the famous people he encountered over the years as we only scratch the surface. Here is our conversation with Nat Comisar.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Natty Cast. And now to your hosts, Tim Barker, Rex Stull, and Ron Thomas.
So my mom's family started going to this place in Muskoka, which is about 2.5 hours north of Toronto, in 1905. First, it was a great-grandfather of mine and a couple of his brothers. And the next year, they took wives and a couple of kids. And the next year, it was 50 people. And now it's about 130 people a year that all had roots in northern Kentucky, in Fort Thomas. But have spread around the world. But for 2 weeks a year, we pause and we go to the middle of the Canadian woods.
Now, do you toast
why
marshmallows
the Canadian
and stuff?
woods?
That's just where they went on the fishing trip. That's just where it began, and it just never stopped.
Okay.
And they ended up buying up.
We ended up buying the place only because we wanted to secure it for the family motto. My mom's side of the family motto is Family Matters. So one of the relatives, actually a group of the relatives, were well-heeled enough that they bought this place and kept it operating as an inn, which it is, except for those 2 weeks a year. You can go there and stay. It's not super fancy. It's rustic, but it's just right.
And is there? I guess it's on a lake, or
it's on Lake of Bays. It's on this fairly large lake with islands, scattered throughout.
And they go fishing from there. People
we
go
go fishing, water skiing.
Yeah.
There's a golf course nearby. A bunch of them are golfers. Actually, we acquired the island with a golf course on it in the middle of this. You can only get there by boat or helicopter. It sounds like uber wealthy. It's not.
Now, Tim, see, that's the kind of place you need to go golfing where you have to helicopter in, right?
Yeah, man. And I'm assuming you golf as well, Nat, or you?
No, I am the commissar who doesn't golf. My aunt Max's grandmother had 48 club championships. She made Sports Illustrated. Me, I played once. I shot 100 on 18 holes. That's my lifetime average. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm done.
Your first time out, you shot 100?
Only time.
It's the only time you played, so your average is 100. Well, that's good for you.
I had and my mom's father was a golfer, and he was a member of the PGA, and he would take me in the backyard and teach me how to swing a club. So I can hit a ball. But there was no short game involved.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know anything, so I'd get up to the green and go over, back and forth, and back, and that was it.
Drive for show, putt for dough, as they say. Right?
That's me. Yeah, well, there was no dough involved.
That's right. So you could drive just fine. As you get up there,
How's your golf game, Rex?
Terrible. I haven't picked up clubs in years. It's really. That's why I was asking if there was water around, because if I were to ever go up there, if there's a body of water around, I'm talking about a swimming pool, a large mud puddle, I could find it. I mean, it's like a magnet.
RT, how about you? When's the last time you were on the links?
Oh, it's been a long time as well. Yeah, I could never spend the time that you need to spend to actually be a good golfer. In fact, for years, Rex would, when you were still playing, I don't have any clubs anymore. Because I gave my clubs to a young man who was, learning to play. And one day I was out at Rex's house, and I was leaving, and he stops me, has me open up the back, and all of a sudden he walks out of a shed with a full set of golf clubs, puts them in the back of my truck, and he says, "Okay, now you have no excuse."
And by the way, when the golf clubs come out of your shed,
they're with a nice patina on them.
That's right. You have to clean them up a little bit. But
Yeah. My Uncle Lee had a 3 handicap.
Wow.
Now, he was running the restaurants before I was. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, when you find it, some of it's talent, though, isn't
Genetic.
it?
Yeah,
I was
genetic,
gonna say, I mean, I could probably go out there every day and not get to a 3 handicap. So, I mean, some of that is talent. Maybe just a little bit about the family history. Kind of, I don't know. We're back to 1905, I guess.
So there's two. We can go 2 family histories. Mom's side of the history, which is the Kentucky side, or the Comisar side, which is the ones that came from Russia and started the restaurant business. So, which way do you want to drive?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming the Comisar name's the one that's famous around this town,
Okay,
right?
let's do that one. Yeah,
but not to discredit your mother's
No,
name. That sounds
Yeah.
quite fascinating over there too. So.
Yeah, mom's. The story on mom's sides are they're really interesting. It's a very eclectic, very artistic bunch of people.
What was the family name over in that?
Yeah.
3 families: Wadsworth, Stegeman, and Littleford.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you a mom's story first.
Okay.
So, Civil War. A woman named Laura Sanders married a guy named Stegeman. He was killed on the courthouse steps in Frankfort, Kentucky, in the war after having a few kids. She married his best friend, Mr. Wadsworth, had a few more kids. So that's these 2 branches of a triangle.
Gotcha. So
Okay.
she had 2 husbands.
She had 2 husbands,
Yeah.
Stegeman kids, Wadsworth kids.
Got it.
That's the genesis of this family. Okay. The Stegemans and the Wadsworths all settled in northern Kentucky, and they both married into a family named Littleford. So we had this triangle now.
Okay.
Stegeman, Wadsworth, Littleford.
And then they came back together. Okay, got it.
And they
Sounds
had
like
all
a law
sorts of-
firm.
Yes, exactly. So they had all these different businesses and different things, but one of them, one of my relatives, Duck Wadsworth, who was nicknamed Duck
Wait a minute. Duck Wadsworth. We just need to pause on the name for just to appreciate it before we even get the story. It's a fantastic name, so let's get the...
He was given that name after returning home from World War I as a decorated cavalry officer, and he was taken out in the golf course, and somebody yelled, "Duck!" He turned, lost an eye, and that was his name from that moment forward.
He lost his... Wait a minute. He got back from World War One
Yes.
and lost his eye on the golf course.
No injuries in the war, lost his eye on the golf course.
Oh, my.
And he became Duck.
Duck, yes. Well,
So Duck married Salome North of Sarasota, Florida. She's a lovely woman. Her brothers, Johnny and Buddy North, had this little circus named Ringling Brothers. So that's why the circus would go from Sarasota, Florida, to Cincinnati, Ohio. That's why it was here. And I can tell you, when I was a little kid, I used to ride the elephants and go backstage, and clowns are weird, and that's enough to say about that.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay. So the circus would advertise with these 30-sheet billboards, the smaller billboards, okay, with this fabulous art. I don't know if you've ever seen circus art.
yeah.
It's really
And
cool.
it's very collectible, too.
It was.
Yeah.
And they started a museum up here. The Littleford family, who were artisans and craftsmen in northern Kentucky, started a museum. Okay? The museum has since moved to Sarasota, and then it moved to St. Petersburg, I believe.
Where the Ringling Brother Museum.
Right.
Yeah, that
That
museum.
museum.
I've been to that museum, yeah.
Okay, and all the billboards are there.
That started up here?
Started up here.
All right.
So when you open up a museum and you curate an exhibition, you have to have a catalog, right?
Yeah.
What do you think they named their catalog? Billboard.
Duck.
Oh,
Magazine.
Duck.
Billboard
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Magazine.
whoa, whoa.
And that's
So
how it
that's how
started.
Billboard,
Billboard
magazine
magazine?
started?
And my Uncle Bill ran Billboard for a long, long time.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that side, mom's side of the family is just as interesting as the
Billboard
Comisar.
Wow.
magazine started by accident,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, it morphed into
More, I mean, when I say by accident, I mean they started
Yeah.
it as a catalog for
It's a
their
catalog
circus
for the circus
posters, yeah.
museum.
Wow.
And they started the circus as well.
Well, no, they didn't start the circus.
Okay.
The circus was Johnny and Buddy North.
Johnny and Buddy North. Got
Yeah,
it. Okay.
and then the
okay.
Littlefords wanted to have a museum chronicling that artwork.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so what about the duel on the courthouse steps? I'm kind of
It wasn't a duel. It was just that's where the battle was fought, and that's where he died.
okay. So it wasn't a duel; it was an
No, it
actual
wasn't
battle.
a duel. No.
Okay,
no.
gotcha.
It was active fighting, just happened to be on the
Right.
courthouse.
Okay.
That's just where it was.
Got it. Okay.
That's a good twist, though. A duel on
Yeah.
the courthouse. Very dramatic.
I mean,
Well,
who's
from
gonna-
everything else you're telling us,
who's gonna
how could
disprove
there
it at
not
this
be?
point? I mean,
yeah.
we might just have to change the family history to duel. I like that.
There you go.
All right, so then you're
Well, that's enough of that. We'll talk. Commissar family is what people in Cincinnati are familiar with. So let's go back to Revolutionary Russia. Okay.
Why not?
Samuel Commissar, his wife dies in childbirth with the fifth kid about 1914-ish. I don't know the dates. I'm going to be guessing, and I'll be fudging
That's
here.
fine, yeah.
He realizes that things are not going well in Russia, and it's probably time to move out with his young family. The kids at that point are newborn up to 5 or 6 years old.
And they have a trade. They have some money. They had
nothing. They're just scrounging. So he takes them to Poland. Is as far as his money would take him.
Right.
And he says, this isn't far enough. We're not going to make it. So he decides to go to America. But he doesn't have the money. So he has enough money to take his oldest son, Ben, on a steamship. And he puts the other 4 kids into an orphanage. He takes this kid, Ben, over to New York, and he gets there, sets up shop.
Just the two of them?
Just the two of them, he
Okay.
and Ben. Ben's selling apples on the corner. Samuel is doing whatever he did, shining shoes, whatever, to survive. After about a year, he had saved enough money to go back. He left Ben with a neighbor in their tenement. And he went to Poland, worked there for
He left this kid on his own with a neighbor.
who's now 6 years old.
Flew back, or not fly back, what am I saying? Took a ship back.
2.5 weeks on a ship
Yeah.
to go back.
Right.
Collects 2 more kids after he has to work in Poland for 6 or 8 months to get more money.
Yeah.
He gets enough money. He takes the next 2 kids, takes them over, does the same thing. It takes 2.5, 3 years to get all 5 kids over to New York.
Wow.
At that point, it's 1917 or so, and the immigrants are pouring in from Italy and from Ireland and from Poland and everywhere. And he says, this isn't going to work. There's too many here. Let's go as far west as our money will take us. And that is Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wow.
Wow.
So he arrives in Cincinnati. Now, Ben at this point is, let's call it 8, and the youngest is 3 years old or 4 years old. So we're in that range, 4 to 9, let's say. They're all scrounging to do whatever. And in 1920, Samuel decides to reward himself for all the good he's done for his family by buying a car. And he wants to drive to San Francisco. He left Ben in charge of the kids, and he was never seen again.
Wow.
Well, think about 1920.
Oh,
and
Yeah.
It was wild, wild west for sure. Who knows what happened to the man? There were no roads.
Yeah.
He just never came back.
And
Wow.
there's
So-
and still to this day you don't know how
Nobody knows. There's a Molly Commissar who is somehow related to the family. He may have married Molly, and she later died in Florida. We think he may have married her in New York, but she didn't make the trip to Cincinnati with him.
Oh, I see.
Don't know.
I thought you meant after he left. I'm like, well, he was going to San Francisco, and he
no.
didn't. Okay, got it.
So he married somebody in New York, probably to help him take care of these kids, but
Right.
that didn't work, and so he moved with the kids.
With the kids, but without her.
So now, 1920, let's say Ben is 13,
He's now raising.
raising these kids.
The head of the
He's
household.
working in a sweatshop where he marries Catherine. And Catherine and Ben get married at 14 years old.
Oh, my.
And they
yeah.
raise the family.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
1926, they decide to pool their resources. Now, they're all still kids.
Yes.
And they open the Helena Sandwich Shop, named after Helen, who was the youngest of the 5, the baby. The Helena Sandwich Shop on Court Street. And then came Commissar's Delicatessen in the Dixie Terminal Building. And that was 1929. And then in 1931, they opened La Normandie.
Oh, wow.
And from there, things just took off.
So La Normandy down below before the Maisonette, or
Normandy
was
was not down below.
Oh,
This is in the Keith Building over on Walnut Street, where the Fifth Third Bank Building is now.
Okay.
Okay. So the theme of this, when I tell this story to other people, is that this family became excellent at what they do in the restaurant business because they had to survive, because they just took grief and stuffed it down, because they ignored all the pain and suffering they went through. They couldn't grieve the loss of their mother. They went into an orphanage, and one of them came to the U.S.
Yeah.
They couldn't grieve the loss of their father. The two 13 or 14-year-olds had to take care of the family.
Wow.
Right.
Okay? So Ben and Catherine actually did a very good job raising these kids. And everybody, after 1930, started opening restaurants. So La Normandy was 31. And then, my gosh, there was the Pirates Den, the Top of the Ridge, the Old South, the Colony Swifton Center, the Swing Bar, all these restaurants in the family and in the history. And then my grandfather, who was Nat, he married this woman named Valley Carrick from Cynthiana, Kentucky. And Valley was Valley put on airs, but owned it. I mean, she was the fur-lined hats and the foot-long cigarette holders, and she just the country wasn't there when Valley came into the room. She was very dashing, and she came into the business with my grandfather Nat, who kept La Normandy and who kept the Pirates Den. Eventually, he had to sell that one. But they saw that at the end of World War II, all these soldiers were coming back, and they knew something better than Mom's Meatloaf on a Sunday night. And they thought, let's open up a continental restaurant, something that's really going to give these soldiers some kind of sense that we're better, that we're like Europeans. And they wanted to open up this thing named after the Maisonette room in the St. Regis in New York.
In New York, yeah.
Right. That's where the name came from. Yeah. My grandfather used to say, if you're going to steal from a bank, don't steal from the deli. So right about the time they decided they wanted to do this, which was
your grandfather would say that to you?
Not to me. I never met the man.
Oh, you didn't meet the man.
But I've heard it.
I was going to say, my grandfather said to me once when I was 5 or whatever, he caught me stealing a lollipop. And he talked to me, so where'd you get it? I said, when we were in the store, I took it. He goes, He goes, so when you take something, he says, you're a thief. He says, so next time you steal something, make it count.
See, same thought.
Damn.
Italian immigrant, right?
Go.
He's like, if you're going to be a thief, I'm not saying you should. He made me take it back, but if you decide you're going to be a thief, just make it count.
Do it all the way.
That's right.
My grandfather gave me a wad of his chewing tobacco, his leafy chewing tobacco, and because it looks so good, and I vomited, and I never had it again.
Oh man,
it's perfect.
It's again lessons learned, maybe a slightly unconventional way, but anyway. So
after the war, so they make this plan, and then my grandfather in 1946 is at the age of 44 is diagnosed with heart disease. And what did they do in 1944? They tell you, don't climb stairs. You're going to put a bed in the living room. You're just going to sit until you die.
Until you die of heart disease.
So for 2 years, he did this. My father, in that period of time, came down with polio.
Wow.
Okay, he beat it, came out of it, went back to school, but he was at home with polio while my grandfather was sitting in a bed in another room, right? Wow. So my grandmother...
And Nat, where is this, Nat? Where are you geographically?
They lived on 5 Stanley Lane in Mount Lookout.
Okay.
Yeah, this is 1946. My dad was born in 1935, so
got it.
Thereabouts. So, Valley goes to work. My grandmother Valley goes to work, and she's running the show. But as much panache as she had, and as smart as she really was a sharp lady. She didn't have the back of the house sense. We're going to come back to that in a minute. And my uncle, my grandfather, realized he had to go back to work. My dad tells the story later in life of coming home from school one day when he was back in school and coming home and finding his father dressed for the first time in 2 years.
Wow.
And his father said to him, boys, I may die, but I have to work to support this family. and he went back to work.
Wow.
And they opened Maisonette in October of 1948. It was not what they intended. It was in the basement, which was a private room they called the Amber Room.
So was it now at the location on 6th Street or still?
No, it was in the basement of the Keith Building, underneath La Normandy.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So the
Yeah, so
Maisonette,
the Maisonette
was
started underneath.
La Normandy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was, the first menu was spaghetti and meatballs, pork chops, anything to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
With
And
a French name.
yeah, exactly. They like the name.
Yes.
6 weeks to the day after they opened the restaurant, on Thanksgiving morning, my grandfather has his heart attack and dies.
Wow.
My dad's 13. My uncle is 18. He's a freshman at UC. And my uncle, is forced to leave college because now he has to go and work to support the family.
So now this is the next generation of kids raising their siblings,
Right.
or
He had to raise his brother
Yeah.
Wow.
with his mom.
but just like your grandfather had or whatever, whoever
Yep.
had done it right previously had to take over.
And Ben had to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing.
Wow.
You don't get a chance to grieve. You don't get a chance to process this.
Or
You
even to just
have to
grow
survive.
up. I mean,
No.
it's like instant
Survive.
Yeah.
My uncle came out of that as an angry man. He really was. He just was. His license plate was LTT, which stood for Little Tommy Temper. I mean,
Okay.
he had a sense of humor about it, but he was an angry man.
Yeah.
My dad, on the other hand, was this just devil may care. He was just like, in a way, my grandfather and grandmother. My grandfather was back of the house, like my uncle was back of the house. My dad was front of the house, like his mom. Okay?
Yeah.
So Lee, my uncle, and my grandmother actually make a go of this. And this is a successful restaurant, and they're making money. And Valley decides in 59 that she's going to honor her husband, and she's going to make this into the best restaurant the city has ever seen. Takes all her savings, pours her money into it, redecorates the place. It's gorgeous. It's down in the basement, and opens the doors, and no one comes. It's a disaster.
Wow.
The Natty Cast is proud to have the support of the National Alumni Association of the Cincinnati School for Creative and Performing Arts. I am a proud alumnus of SCPA, class of 1986, as are my co-hosts Rex and Ron. If you have listened to our past episodes, you will hear the stories of other alumni and faculty who have shared their amazing stories of how the school impacted their lives. The SCPA Alumni Association is looking to reconnect classmates from over the past 50 years and help to continue to find ways to improve educational opportunities for current SCPA students. From the Dare to Dream scholarships to simply spreading the word on class reunions, support for the association will go a long way in connecting the amazing community that is the SCPA family. Your annual membership fee of $40 will help support everything from the association's daily operations to alumni event programming. Membership dues for recent SCPA graduates are waived for the first 18 months. Visit us at scpaalumni.org to become a member, donate, or find other ways to get involved. Please don't forget to check out the official store for all your SCPA merch. Again, that's scpaalumni.org. And remember, as we celebrate the me yet to come, in time, we will all be stars. And now, back to the show.
And she did something which you could not do today. And there was a reporter named Betty, and I can't remember her last name now, at the Post that ran a story about this. But what Valley did is she called the whole staff in. Now, you have to imagine the old Maisonette. You walk down this big staircase, which she had then encased in marble to make it very dramatic. And you landed in this place where on the left, there was a big, long table where they tossed salads and they had champagne and shrimp on ice and that kind of thing. In the modern Maisonette, there were carts that rolled through the dining room.
Right.
But at this point, there was just a big station where they did everything. And then in front of you were 4 or 5 tables. On the right, there was a bar, there was a fireplace over here, and there were 2 padded leather doors going into the kitchen. On the left, past this big table, were 2 more dining rooms and then a way back into the kitchen. So it was a big loop. So Valley gathers the staff, and she says, all right, gang, we're floundering. But for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to pay you a wage out of my pocket, my savings, and you're going to keep a secret, and you're going to come to work every day, and we're going to work hard. But we're not going to reserve any more tables than these 4 or 5 tables sitting right here in front.
The ones you could see.
Ones you could see.
Yeah.
And the only people who can come are newspaper, radio, television, or movies. That's it. So and she stuck to her guns. And for 6 weeks,
made an exclusive sort of everybody you can't get a table.
Can't get a table. And but the act was the captain would come up and take your order and hand it to the waiter, and the waiter would go back in the kitchen and put it in for the cooks. The cooks would make the food, and another waiter would bring it out, but he'd go into the other dining rooms with your food. And then they'd come around in the kitchen and pass it to your waiter, and your waiter would bring it to you. And they kept doing this charade by going in a circle one way or the other. And it looked like it was so busy.
Yeah.
Wow.
There is an article, and I still have a clipping of this in the Post that happened 4 weeks into this. And the title is, What's Happening at Maisonette, ... You can't get a table.
Oh. You can't, I mean, it's perfect.
It was.
It's brilliant. I mean, it truly is brilliant.
It was. Couldn't do it today.
No.
6 weeks to the day, she opened up the reservation books, and the place was packed.
Wow.
And that's what made it into what it was.
Okay.
Well, I would argue on some account, the whole thing with Instagram and social media, there's an element of that where if you do put something out there with all these lines, or people show lines, or you can't get, that kind of same hype.
Yeah, people trying to basically accommodate. It's a brilliant adaptation of that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, she did very well. But then, so the story continues. So my father comes home from college, and he and my uncle, like I said, they're very different people, but they were very oil and water, very, very different personalities, and they argued constantly. My uncle, the angry man who had his college taken away from him, and had to take care of this younger version, younger commissar, and that one comes in just full of, he's going to show the world how everything works, and he's anyway. So they're arguing when my grandmother comes down with brain cancer. I know. It just sounds like a terrible, sad story. But so they're struggling with that. She's fading. She's remarried to somebody, a guy named Bobby Knight, who actually was head of Arthur Murray Dance Studios locally for years.
Oh, I thought you were going to say father of the Indiana basketball coach.
Yeah, no basketball. Different Bobby Knight. So Valley's dying. They're arguing. And the city comes along and says, urban renewal is here.
Oh,
you need to move your restaurant.
Well, and Normandy was still there as well.
When Normandy and Maisonette were both there.
Both there.
Okay. So they approached the Valerio sisters, who had this little Italian restaurant on 6th Street. And they asked if they could buy their building, lease it, and then buy their building from them. And they went and borrowed $250,000 in 1963.
That building cost $250,000 in 1963.
Well, no, the building plus all the renovations.
Okay,
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
1963.
It is a lot of money.
And they pour all their money into it. They open the doors. They're running it. They're arguing because money is so tight.
They moved both. Then they put Maisonette up
goes
top.
downstairs.
Okay.
Maisonette goes upstairs.
All
My
right.
dad's making $75 a week, raising 2 kids. It's just, just a struggle. And Valley dies, and her will has been written incorrectly. And the debt for the restaurants goes to my father and uncle. The stock for the restaurant goes to her husband, Bobby.
Oh.
And they have to go out and borrow another $150 to buy the stock from him.
Wow.
At this point, the two of them are running this, what is now a very successful restaurant, and there's national buzz about it. It's 1965 at this point.
But it also has a huge amount of debt that it's trying to
Huge
service.
debt, and they decide what they're going to do is they're going to go to the lawyer's office, and they're going to flip a coin. And whoever wins the coin flip gets to choose. He's the buyer or the seller, and the other guy has to accept whatever that is. So their partnership is going to be over with a coin flip. Now, there's a woman named Mary Bellina. And Mary, if you wanted to go to Maisonette, you didn't call me. You didn't call my father or my uncle to get a reservation, because we don't know what's going on, honestly, with that minutia. Mary handled the books. And if you wanted a table, you called Mary Bellina. And Mary Bellina knew everything that was going on in those restaurants every day of the week. So she knew that the two of them were going to make the coin flip and that this was going to change everybody's life. They go to the lawyer's office, and it's while they are at the lawyer's office that a telegram arrives. And Mary decides to open it. And inside it, she reads it, and then she sends a busboy, dressed as a busboy, get down the street to Catsteller Branton Hill's office right now. She calls them and says, stop the meeting until you read this telegram. The busboy gets there. My father or my uncle opens up the telegram. Actually, Sidney Brandt, who is the lawyer, opens up the telegram. And he says, congratulations from the Mobil Travel Corporation. You two are the youngest ever recipients of the Mobil Travel Guide 5-Star.
Wow. What at the like coin ready
Before
to
the coin
yeah.
flip.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how it started.
And they decided to call it off.
They called off the coin flip, and it was. But think of all I've just told you.
Wow.
All
Yeah.
the lack of ability to grieve, all the need to survive, led to that moment.
Yeah.
So that's how the Comisar started.
I mean, that's
Wow.
immigrant stories, and that's kind of just a truly amazing version of it. Especially the generations that had to do
yeah.
it. You know, 'cause a lot of times you have the one generation that can maybe pull everybody over and get people started, but really it took. It happened, that tragedy befell, the young people had to step up
Yep.
a couple times, which is usually where things would have collapsed.
Right.
And
But
then what's your
they-
dance with this, Nat, of when do you then, so now we're in 65, and then are you seeing all of this around you, and then you're interested, or then where does your connection play into this family?
So I was born in 58. So when this happened, I was 7 years old.
Okay.
So I really didn't understand any of it until much later. And growing up, though, when I was 13 years old, I started washing dishes. I mean, that's just what we all did.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you, when I was 14, 15, and 16 as a prep cook or whatever, at 16 years old, I get a car. My summers at 16 years old, I'd go into the restaurants at 7 in the morning. And I'd start by doing something like shredding 150 pounds of onions for the fried onions slivers in La Normandy. Mm-hmm. Then I would make garlic butter. I'd puree garlic and make garlic butter for snails. Then I'd stuff snails. Then I'd clean fish, probably in the afternoon. There was no chance of a date whatsoever. The car didn't make any difference. I mean, I stunk. And there's no amount of leaven or rubbing on stainless steel that can get that smell out.
And anytime you complained, they said, hey, I was married and raising 3 kids that didn't belong to me by your age, so just get on with it.
Exactly.
Where does somebody get snails from? Where do you get snails?
I don't know. At this point, they actually, snails don't come in. Fresh snails are really hard to find. If you were in France, you could probably get fresh snails. If you were in Maine, you can get fresh snails. But in the Midwest, you're getting them in a can.
Okay.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never did like them either. It might have been because my fingers were covered.
Well,
in
I mean,
garlic
if
and-
you're going to
Yeah,
sit
if you're
and stuff,
stuffing 'em.
I think that's the
Yeah.
last thing you're
hours
going to
a
want
day,
to.
yeah.
Oh, I forget. I had to puree anchovies for a Caesar salad in the middle of all that too. So and garlic and yeah.
Well, they really put they're like, we definitely don't want him getting near anybody.
It was awful.
Wow.
But from there, when I was 17, 18 years old, I would spend my summers cooking. So I got to learn how to cook on that line. It's pretty spectacular. The level of talent. And when I did it, they were all Europeans. There were very few Americans. The one exception was a guy named Joshua Sanderson, who was this. Josh and I got along. Josh worked the day shift. He was a saucier, which just meant he made the stocks and sauces.
Yeah.
And he worked the broiler in the daytime. He came out of the dish room. He was this tall black man who sang all day long. And from that point, I realized it was acceptable to sing in public in front of anybody.
Wow.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've carried it with me my entire life.
Wow.
Well, and you think about the tree. I mean, we won't get onto it, but I mean, the tree of, I mean, Cincinnati's become quite the restaurant town.
Most of them came out of those
Look,
restaurants.
exactly. The branches that came out of Maisonette, and then the chefs that were trained underneath and split off. Well, I think including Boca now, right?
David Falk, his nickname at the time was Scampy. He used to work for Jean Robert.
Yeah.
David Cook worked for Jean Robert. I think of Hélène Perron, who ran the Bernstein's restaurants forever. My gosh.
And even those people have thrown off other
people,
right?
yeah.
Yes, I mean, the branch of that tree is really quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a quick hit on some of those branches. Some of those original people that came out of Maisonette.
How about Nate Applebaum, who ended up being the corporate chef of Chipotle?
Oh, he's the most commercially successful one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think he's there anymore, but he was there when they opened. Yeah.
So at that level of people came out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where they all learned. They
all
learned their
there.
craft in the Maisonette from
Absolutely.
the Europeans on the line. And
The Natty Cast is supported by Mad Cheese. Mad Cheese is a completely plant-based, dairy-free cheese and charcuterie shop located in Madisonville. The owners, Cincinnati natives Heather and Reggie Donaldson, handcraft over 30 different plant-based cheeses and meats in their commercial production kitchen behind the storefront. You're invited to stop in and sample the wide array of products, book a curated tasting, or sign up for the new subscription box program, which will feature an exclusive new cheese every month with recipes and board building tutorials. For more, head to Instagram and Facebook at Mad Cheese Cincy or go to www.madcheese.com. And with that, back to the show.
When we had our 50th anniversary party, we had a shindig.
What year was that?
That was 1999, which was a lie because the truth be told, and this is the first time it's being broadcast, our 50th anniversary was in 1998, but we didn't think about having a party.
Oh, you
so
forgot.
we just told everybody it was open in 49.
you heard it here first.
There you
Okay.
go.
And they were celebrating the guy who had a duel on the Frankfurt courthouse steps.
So I had this idea. I would approach Delta Airlines and I said, please give me round trip tickets for two to every city in the nation that has a mobile travel guide 5-star restaurant. And I went to those restaurants and I said, please give me dinner for two. And they all did. And Delta did. And I had a hotel partner, and I can't remember who it was right now. And I'm so sorry I don't, who ponied up hotel rooms.
So you
in
had flights,
each city.
hotel, and a dinner for
So
two.
one couple, won dinner for two at every 5-star in the nation.
Wow.
And we had this raffle and stuff, but the big crowning glory was this party, $1,000 a head party, which benefited the Contemporary Arts Center. At the time, I was a trustee of what became the Rosenthal Center. And the $1,000 a plate, all the proceeds went to the center. All the product was donated, so all the money went there. And we had chefs from 5-star restaurants. Each chef did one course. So Dean Fearing came from the Mansion on Turtle Creek, or Pierre Sedlin came from the restaurant in Montreal, the Beaver Room, in Montreal. And it was awesome. Patrick O'Connell from the Inn at Little Washington. And I didn't think it through. I should have. The Food Network wasn't a big thing, but it was burgeoning. I should have had Scripps people come over and been there.
Sure.
But I'm walking through the kitchen.
For the 51st anniversary. I mean, come on. No,
Something. I'm walking through the kitchen, and there's this guy in blue jeans and just a plaid shirt standing on the line helping Patrick O'Connell cook. And I don't know this guy. And I walk over and I said, hi, who are you? And he goes, hi, my name's Bobby Flay. Nice to meet you.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was great.
Yeah.
Was the 5-star a precursor to the Michelin? When did the Michelin...
Michelin was a separate entity. So Michelin was really the European version of the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So now the Michelin stars are here, and the 5-star Mobil Exxon and Mobil merged and it became the Exxon Mobil Five-Star, and then they sold it to Forbes, and now it's not quite what it was. Michelin now has starred restaurants in the States.
Got it.
But the Five-Star at the time was we won the Super Bowl 41 consecutive years.
I was going to say, it was the longest running?
Oh, yeah, Five-Star ever will be.
Wow.
There are resorts that have had it longer. The Broadmoor, I think, is over 50 years at this point,
right,
out in Colorado. But there's no restaurant. Little Washington has probably had it late 30 years at this point.
And that's extraordinary.
It's
Yeah.
I mean,
41?
41 years.
Wow. The quality up and chefs and just the front of house. I mean, all of it. I mean, it's such a huge undertaking.
Yeah, it really was. And it was not what you shot for. You didn't try to be an award winner. So people would interview me and they ask me what my job is, and I'd say twofold. One is my job is to help the people that I work with do what I've asked them to do. That's it. I've charged these people with being the best they can possibly be. I got to give them the tools. I got to give them the resources and the responsibility. So, for instance, any busboy, if they saw a problem, had the authority to comp a meal.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. If you tell your busboy something that's wrong, and the busboy tells the waiter, who tells the captain, who tells the maitre d', who comes over and apologizes, and then I come over there, it just blows up.
Yeah.
If something's bad, fix it now.
Yeah.
But also help paint the picture now for our listeners. So here you are, 17. You're in the kitchen. You're doing the cooking. Do you know that this is your track? Like where you bump off to college? Like where does Nat go from there?
So it was kind of expected. I was a math nerd and a music nerd, and if I had had my druthers, I wanted to go to MIT, get a math degree, do research, that kind of thing. At the same time, I really enjoyed the feel of the restaurant. There's a tribal kind of, and frankly, my dad was in the restaurant more than he was ever at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of wanted to be where my dad was. So,
and there's kind of a hybrid of art and science to, I think, food anyway.
Yes, there is.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of both,
yeah.
And you seem to be drawn to the artistic piece and the mathematic piece, but that's what that is really a hybrid of.
And the oenology, the wine, there's at any rate, to answer your question, Tim, I was expected to do it. Yeah, the other urges I had, whether it be an architect, a doctor, or a research scientist, whatever, weren't as strong as this. And I was accepted to Cornell University in the hotel school in October of my junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Wow!
So I didn't early acceptance even. Yeah.
I didn't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
I just kind of did it. I got to Cornell, and actually, after being there for a year, I said, "This is my last chance to read, to study, to learn, to explore, to discuss." So I transferred 3 different times, all inside Cornell, not understanding that it was 17 different universities and the credits weren't transferring. Right. And my poor father paid the freight for 6 years at an Ivy League. But
nothing like a 6-year senior at an Ivy League school, right?
Yeah.
They finally said you have 168 credits out of the needed 120. However, you're 4 short of any degree.
That's right.
But here's the paper.
In any combination, we can't.
Right. Just go.
They
leave.
They let you loose even though you didn't.
Just leave.
All right.
Yeah, we'll write a BA. There you go. History. Go ahead.
And that's what part of New York is Cornell?
Ithaca, New York. Beautiful
Ithaca,
Finger
right.
Lakes,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the state. It really is a stunning piece of country.
So you graduated, and then what do you do?
Graduated. I went to. I came home for a few months looking for a job, and then Richard Melman hired me. He ran Let Us Entertain You out of Chicago. They had 35 restaurants, I believe, and I went up there, and I was the number 2 manager at the Pump Room in Chicago. I should back up. I actually spent a summer before that managing 21 in New York City.
Oh,
the 21 Club?
21 Club, yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my God, my wife and I dined there multiple times. That's a piece of history, man.
It sure is. A spectacular experience, one that I will forever be grateful for. The people I met, the things I saw, it was just over the top. And I could tell stories about that.
I know nothing lasts forever, but we were so crushed when it closed. I mean, I know the pandemic did many things to many, but that was hard.
Yeah, it was a tough one. So I'll tell you a quick story about 21 and about how big my ego was at the time. So at 21, across the ceiling of 21 was littered with toys.
Yeah.
And each toy represented something significant to some very wealthy person in the world. There was a football helmet all over. Every football owner had a helmet on the ceiling.
Okay.
It started in the 50s when this guy
Except for Mike Brown, because he didn't want to pay for it.
This is true.
No, is that serious?
There's a Bengals helmet. There's a Bengals helmet. There is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you set me up for that one, Nat.
There's a Reds helmet, as a matter of fact, up there. But in 1954, this guy wanted to give his girlfriend, his fiance, a gift of an airplane. And he couldn't give her the airplane, so he gave her a model of the airplane, and they hung it from the ceiling in 21. And that just grew and grew and grew. So when I was there, you get to know the lore of all the paraphernalia all over the room. And way back in the left, because Jerry Burns, who owned 21, used to be the drama critic for The Post in Cincinnati, Ohio. Way back in the back, because he knew my uncle, was a golden lamb. Because we own the golden lamb.
Oh, right.
It sat on a shelf. It was hidden away. You'd never notice it in a million years. So I work there. I leave. I go to Cornell. I am dating Alice Reynolds, who's this lovely woman. And she is... and when you're a young man, you don't pay attention. You just don't pay attention to the things around you.
Yes.
Alice drives a nice car, and she lives in an apartment by herself in college. We all roommates.
You weren't paying attention.
Right.
In fact, these are signs that she's probably got some money tucked away somewhere. Right?
Alice got us tickets to the 1980 Lake Placid Olympics. I was there for the Miracle on Ice.
Right.
I saw it in person.
Wow.
She was very generous. Alice and I remain friends to this day, but I didn't ask questions and didn't follow through. So, fast forward from college to after college. I'm out of 21. I'm just in New York. Alice is in New York. I call her up and I say, hey, let's go have dinner and drinks somewhere. She says, sure, that'd be fun to have old time. So I arranged for a limo to pick us up. And we're going to go to 21 first for drinks because I can be a big shot.
Right.
I can be a big shot. And we go in and walk in the front door, and I'm not paying attention. I'm saying hello to Harry and Shaker at the door and Catherine in the coat room. And everybody's saying, oh, so good to see you. And I'm not paying attention. They're saying hello to her, too. They're saying hi, but she's a little bit behind me, and I'm not there. And we get in, and we get into the bar, and there's Max, and he goes, Mr. Nat, how are you? Can I get you a Southside? That's great. He goes, oh, Miss Alice, so good to see you. I hope you don't mind. I had to move your branding iron. And my ego went from like here to here, just in a flash. Because you see, Alice was Alice Clayburgh Reynolds. Her daddy owned a little thing called the King Ranch in Texas.
Oh, man.
750,000 acres. And when she said to me when she was a kid that she and her cousin used to ride choppers around the ranch, I thought she meant motorcycles. She meant helicopters.
And that brand you can see on the back of Ford King Ranch.
Yeah, the Ford King Ranch.
That brand is still there.
Wow.
So how long were you living in New York then, Nat?
I was in New York for only about 5 or 6 months.
Okay.
It was a summer. I did an internship at 21 where I worked every single position from the bakery to the butcher shop up through management, and the last 2 months were in management. I'll tell you a Frank Sinatra story. So the way 21 was set up, when you came in, there's 3 sections on the first floor. And they called the last section Siberia on purpose. If there was no one worthy of sitting in the front section, it just stayed empty. It just was empty. And to that end, I could tell you every Tuesday for lunch at table, I think it was 8 on the left-hand side, were Frank Gifford and Charlie Allen, who was the largest car dealer in the world at that time, with their stockbroker, Martha Stewart.
Oh,
I can tell you Howard Cosell was always at table 3. I remember the night that Kirk Douglas came in with his wife and his father-in-law, Billy Rose. That was the front section. Yeah. And if it was nobody worthy of the front section,
they didn't sit there.
They didn't see anybody there. So one night I'm told that Frank Sinatra's coming in. And I've been always told that he's a grumpy man. He's not easy to deal with and that kind of stuff. And in walks the nicest guy in the world. And he says hello to Harry and Shaker at the door and Catherine, and he asks her about her kids, and she goes to he knows everybody. Yeah. And he comes down the line of managers waiting to greet him, and he gets to me and he goes, I don't know you. And I said, yes, sir, my name's Nat. And he said, well, Nat, I tell you what, my guests are going to leave about 11:45. You sit down with me and have a glass of champagne. We'll get to know each other.
Wow.
And at 11:45, I sat down with Frank Sinatra, and he asked me questions. He knew the Maisonette. He knew my father and uncle. He was joking with me. He says, because I've been trying to get into that restaurant without a tie for so many years, and you let Al Davis come in his silver outfit and his white turtleneck. And so it was just like, again, I got a buddy in Frank Sinatra. How good was that? Fast forward. Yeah, 1984 then. That was 1980. So in 1984, I'm running the pump room in Chicago for Rich Melman. And Mel Green is going to book the entire restaurant for Sinatra's last album, the album release. And I'm thinking, I'm great. I'm going to see Frank again. It's my buddy. I'm going to see him. And everybody arrives. The place is packed with people. No Frank, no Frank, no Frank. And I'm waiting at the front door. And he comes in 45 minutes or so late. He's wearing a cardigan and a turtleneck. He's looking down. He doesn't pay attention to anybody. He walks right past me, 10 paces, and I'm thinking, oh, well. He stops and turns around, and he points at me, and I go, yeah, you see me, don't you? And he goes, I know you. I go, yes, Mr. Sinatra, you do. I used to work at 21 in New York. He goes, used to work there. Worst effing mistake you ever made. Turns around and goes and sits down and doesn't talk to anybody but the waitstaff for the rest of the night.
Wow.
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
Always very generous with the wait staff, very kind.
I had heard that, and then when he saw you coming in, originally didn't know you. I had heard, I've heard people tell stories.
Oh, big
where,
tipper.
You know, exactly. We're out here, maybe not.
Yeah.
But to like the wait staff and the help, he was always.
He was great with the people that worked there, but the people, he was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
How did you like the city? How did you like New York?
I love New York. It fits
Chicago,
like a glove. Yeah, Chicago I enjoyed as much, but not in the same way.
Sure.
I moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, and that was a whole different world. Living in Newport Beach and working in Orange County, it just wasn't.
Restaurant?
Was that a restaurant?
Yeah, one of the guys who used to manage at 21, John Fleming, was working for Doubletree Hotels, and they had opened up this new hotel at the city center. And said, well, why don't you come out and run this restaurant since you're leaving Chicago, which I was. And I said, sure, why not? And I get out there, and it's this beautiful place. But
out in Orange County.
In Orange County, right next to the city, right next to the Crystal Cathedral. I got to know Reverend Schuler, and right next to Disney World.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's a different
world.
And you lived over Newport Beach, so you had to commute.
20 minutes drive one day, 3-hour drive the next day. You never knew.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
And everybody understood that, if you're late, they just get it.
And how do you end up back in Cincinnati then?
My uncle came out and he said, it's time for you to come home and work for the family.
You're done. You're 6 years of college.
You're done.
You're wandering around. You've had your fun, right?
So I came back, and that was 1984. And by 1985 in the spring, I was running Chester's Roadhouse in Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And then, thing grew on from there. We bought the islands, and I ran Newport Beach for 2.5 years, and that was a disaster. I know more about welding than I ever wanted to know in my entire life. 9 floods in 2.5 years. 1999 midnight, I'm in the river in hip waders, because the ramp is going underwater as the flood's coming up, and the awning is going to stop people from getting off the boat. So the welder and I both have acetylene torches, and we have to cut the sides of the awning at the same time so it won't rack, because it was 110 feet long. And I just no.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And where do you currently live in the city?
Currently live in Sims Township. I've been out of the restaurant business now for almost 20. It was July of 2005 when I closed Maisonette.
Okay.
So is the family now completely out of the restaurant business? Or
my sister Michael, who's 25 years younger than I am, she has a business called Michael's Muffins in North Carolina, and she just started selling them in Jungle Gyms.
I think I saw an article about that.
They're really good.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I saw an
good.
article, maybe in the Business Courier or something about that.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that until you just said that. I was like, wait, because she was from the. They mentioned in the because her last name is not Comisar, is it?
Well, not anymore. Yeah,
that's what I mean. So, but they mentioned it somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That was Wow.
Yeah.
So
Have you thought about? Have you thought about writing a book, Matt? I mean, this is.
I've actually in discussions with some people about that.
Nice.
I have. I'm working with Jay Gilbert, who you guys probably know. Jay Gilbert's going to help me put it together, and then there's a unnamed publisher. I'll just keep it quiet. And yeah, we're working.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well,
can I play you in the movie?
Sure.
Yeah, there's so much family. There's so much history, and you seem to.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition to having this amazing family history, you seem to be interested in it as well, which is nice.
Oh yeah, it's we go through life with this fabric that envelops us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't enjoy that fabric, if you don't explore it, if you don't, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you do real estate now?
I sell commercial and residential real estate, and I still consult. And I've got hotel projects I work on, literally from Guam to Portugal.
Wow, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, but now they can fly me somewhere. I can tell them to paint it blue, and I get to go home.
Somebody else's problem.
Where's a favorite place or places that you like to eat in the city or currently for those listening that if they were coming to Cincinnati that you would say, hey, check this out or try this?
So people ask me this all the time, and my response is food should be what it is. That doesn't make sense. Food should be as simple as it is. So if you're going to have corn, then don't throw 10 different ingredients into it. If you're going to have corn and you want to make it with a little jalapeno and cilantro and lime, that's good. But leave 6 more ingredients out. So to that end, I look for things that are simple and good. Like go to Soto, where the pastas are delicious, house-made, simple, and good. You want to go to have Thai? Go to Green Papaya in Paxton and Wasson Roads in Hyde Park. I mean, because it's simple and good. It's what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. It's when you find these restaurants that have just this voluminous menu with 35 different things, and every ingredient's in every dish. I can't do that.
Well, I think the simple is always best, and people whenever they taste. My family comes from Italy, Italian. They'll taste what they would call peasant pasta, right? I mean, it was garlic and onions and olive oil and pasta.
Go to Forno.
Go
to Forno.
But you have that dish done correctly, and you're like, this is
delicious.
amazing.
Christian knows what he's doing,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Tim's got an out on us here, but we have some sports questions we like to ask people. So TB, I don't know.
I always like to ask each guest, Nat, if you got a jersey, you get one jersey, can be whatever sports team is your team
from
historically from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Who's on the back of that jersey and why?
Bob Cousy.
Wow. Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Hands down.
I love it. Oh, my God, I love it.
It's strong. And he didn't have to think about it either.
No. But you think about it. Before Magic, before Michael Jordan, before Pistol Feet Maravich, who was passing behind the back, no-look passes? To Oscar Robertson. It was Bob Cousy. And no one recognizes that part of the reason Oscar was so good is because Bob was feeding him the ball.
Yeah. Well, there's always a Scottie Pippen for Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great answer.
It really is, man.
Now I have to tell you, I've been asked that question before. It's part of the reason I know it is because when I was the fill-in for Gary Burbank on the radio for 8 weeks a year when he'd take a vacation, and we'd do Sports or Consequences, and that's one of the topics that came up one day. It's like, who's your favorite Cincinnati sports figure?
Yeah.
Well, it was Bob Cousy, hands down.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Oh.
Well, I think what we'll do next time, because I think we'll probably have you back at some point, is we're going to pick one of these topics because we did not talk about your a cappella singing.
No, we didn't.
We didn't talk about you also do Barbershop Quartet.
Yes, international champion at this point.
There you go. So,
Oh, man.
there's tons of topics we can get to.
No,
We got stuff.
one thing. Let me plug No Promises Vocal Band with the Kentucky Symphony on September 13th at the 20th Century. It's the 10-year anniversary of the group, and every member of the group across 10 years is going to participate. It's the history of boy bands. It's going to be self-indulgent.
that's
Oh, wow.
fantastic.
That's
Wow.
fantastic.
One more time.
Yeah, what's the
One
name
more
of it?
time.
Yeah.
The No Promises Vocal Band. You
Got
can
it.
find it on Facebook. It's September 13th with the KSO at 20th
At
Century.
20th
in
Century.
Oakley, yeah.
Wow. That sounds great.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It does. And do you have Instagram or anything like that you want to plug? Or
You can find me. If you want to find me, you can find me on anything. But No Promises Vocal Band on Facebook is the way to find it.
Okay, perfect.
Outstanding.
All right. Well, great. Well, thanks so much for
Yeah.
coming in. And
Yeah,
that
pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Amazing history. Just an absolute amazing
Yeah,
history.
well, I practiced
Yeah.
talking for most of my life, so it's not really a problem.
All right. Well, folks, don't forget part 2 to be announced.
Yeah, at some point in time. Well, we'll pick a topic, though. We're going to have to just drill
Yeah.
in. Maybe
Sounds
we'll
good.
hear about your mom or something.
Anything you want.
Oh, yeah. We'll do the other side. Yeah.
All right.
There we go. Good.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks, Nat.
Thanks,
guys.
Nat.
Anytime.
The Nattycast is proudly brought to you by Pago Lago Productions. The show is hosted by Tim Barker, Rex Stull, and Ron Thomas. Produced and edited by Matthew Lake and associate produced by Ethan Spanja. Special thanks to Sadie Kern at Pop Gun Flow for the graphics and to Brando Triantafilu for the original theme song. Feel free to follow us at _Nattycast on Instagram or head to our website, thenattycast.com. You can get this show wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.